This piece is a dedication to poets near and far, present and past, who have written the truths that I live by. This piece is called For the Poets. For the fleeting moment capturers who enrapture us. I've written this for the rhyme flingers and the word slingers, for the pens and microphones gripped between fingers, for the barrier breakers who showed anyone and everyone that this could be done. I've written this for those public communicators of your private struggles, for the lives reborn from rubble, for every poet writing their way out of trouble, for every poem written that aids a resurrection or sparks an insurrection, for every poet that challenges your conventions. I've written this for every witty epithet that doubles as reactionary couplet, and for all of those poets who are surprised by what it is they've created, and for all of us who make this look uncomplicated, for every secret journal kept hidden, every instrumental or internal beat ridden, every writer reaching for knowledge forgotten or forbidden, on every stage and page and place graced with a verse that did not want but needed to be written. You see, I've written this for every seasoned sage or first timer faced with whatever it means to be a writer, for every fabled poet telling fables, for every identity shunning easy labels, every poem in every language under Babel, and for those poets who write for us when we are unable, and for the poets who write just to keep themselves stable, for the poets everywhere and the poetry that got them there. This is for the poets. You know it. I woke up to another set of terrifying terrorist threats from people in power, revealing some seriously questionable mindsets. Convinced me that I might have to grab a bulletproof vest before taking my next test, and to avoid those challenging jokes, no, not even in jest. They're telling me I shouldn't speak too loud because it remains dangerous to protest. I should just be happily repressed under constant duress, thinking it's always best to express caution while the world outside is storming, while we're praying for that peaceful dawning, and while I'm baying for that one fine morning. To the sky I found myself calling. If I was in the wrong place at the wrong time, would it be my family that's mourning? Would it be my body in the casket laid? And would it prove worthy of adoring? If my blood was still gently pouring out and I was laying in the street, dead meat splayed out and my mouth open wide like I'm yawning, would that image succeed in being flooring enough? Would that portrait leave onlookers dumbstruck? Would it serve as a black boy's warning? Spelling out, I'm sorry the system wasn't built for you. Send your complaints to whoever's not ignoring. And if that injustice is still gnawing away, bottle up your righteous rage for a rainy day. You'll need it when vulgarities are thrown your way. Through the trials and pain, you will feel what to say. And as these words are sealed neatly in another coffin, and as the last light draws in, I'll think of the state of things, of biting winters and mirages of spring, and of sins. So my name is the Repeat Beat Poet. I'm a hip-hop poet, broadcaster, MC, and I try to capture individual moments of thought, feeling, and time in my work and extend them. I think that poetry is this fundamental art form to human beings because it allows us to be more direct than we otherwise allow ourselves to be. That's what I want to do with my poems. I want to be direct, and I want to give people something they can use in their day-to-day lives through telling stories, through sharing emotions, and being honest with it. This next piece is called Desecrated, and it's about being a young Londoner and being disillusioned with religion. When Christ the Redeemer descends on Deptford High Street, only the rain will fall to wash his feet. The kids will have already grown tired and weary of waiting. When the Prince of Peace has finished his late shift, the bus driver will not see him, huddle slumped against the shelter, with 3 hours before the early start. The Godhead made flesh again on Dalston Lane will break in private gardens. The patrols around Gethsemane felt the same. His holiness, his glorious name, will sing no song on the banks of the Thames. He will gag on London's waste at Beckton, choke at City Airport, and cackle at futility through the fumes. After following the sacred River Lee all the way up to Tottenham, Yahweh will face match day and divided loyalties. The Lord Creator himself will be run out of the Barking, Brent and Brixton town halls after there was a council assessment that found him to be fit for work, but culturally incompatible. God will be judged in a trial, held on the tube, and sentenced to penance at St. Paul's, where tourists kneeling at altars of airbrushed idols wipe their feet on their gods. I was taught that cleanliness is next to godliness, and God has reconsidered what to polish, what to purify, and what to burn. Let it burn. A Gimbal for Survival, after Ni Aikwe Parks and Margaret Atwood. They'll make believe we saved a single quill, still sitting in its quiver, and equivocate so long that the shills fall from its spine and wither. What's left intact will be corralled, compressed under a half fist, and aimed up high, shot to the sky. Hollow bones are an easier lift. Weightless tails buffed blank and flung out, with the sharpest barbs reburied. What of our remains survive, alive and living? Under fire from mandatory nonsense and absurd diktats, we coalesce on calabash round cowrie shells caught from the kickback and twang true in elastic funk bands, drum rolling into waves, spread thin as morning mist, sprinkling rice dust laced with bass. What happens when we will not comply? When the cretinous creditors and their debts are ditched, banks' statements go ignored, and the calls to arms are dodged, we choose to sanctify those they chose to slay. On mass divestment, refusal to pay, trust fall down that unknowable warren, yet land on patterned pelts. Which sacrifices will we mourn? As our memorials are cannibalized, marched through a factory war zone, wincing wings restrained under corrosive lights, ripped apart, alone, until the flock signals the hour has come to fly across and above the haunted shallow wharf, outside the range of crossfire, amass enough momentum, shed the weight, leave a trail. And then suddenly, at the break of day, the side slashed and swished. The woodcutters glided, they burned the grass, the roots yanked up, high and shorn. Lofty pilgrims crawling towards their anguish, relishing their sick, perverse rush to war. Fires burst, limbs snapped, punctuating the prayers of us just left to watch. We were cut off from our surroundings. We could not comprehend. We were too far and we just could not remember. The motionless men stood there just cursing us. Phantoms in a madhouse on an unknown planet. Sustained yells impossible to understand. We struggled against the frenzy and we did fight alone. Until the forest stepped in, all leisurely, just beckoning us with a mass of hands, feet stomping, of limbs swaying, of eyes and eyes and eyes and eyes and eyes, all present. We are here. Yes, we are here. We will ride away on the roll of drums, leaving hardly a trace.
Joy till I went poor. For many a false man as a friend came knocking all day at my door. Then felt I like a child that holds a trumpet that he must not blow because the man is dead. I dared not speak to let this false world know. Much have I thought of life and seen how poor men's hearts are ever light.
Yeah?